Hello and welcome to Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast with me, Matthew, and as always, I am joined with...
Hello, it's Scott. Give me a second while I fix my camera.
Brilliant. Why didn't you say this before we started?
No, it's good. I mean, it's on. It just shifted slightly.
Brilliant. It is the end of April, and that means it is time to round up all of the Doctor Who news that we have got for this past month. And there has been quite a bit of news so far. It's not been our noisiest month, Doctor Who news related, but it's not been our quietest. March was a desert, you know. But April's been all right. I also can't believe it's already the end of April. We are rapidly approaching halfway through this year, and that is upsetting. But
we're closer to Doctor Who, at least.
Yeah, and closer to it being over as well. You know, closer to it being over. But let's open up with our first bit of news, our headline, which is Mr. Murray Gold. Murray Gold will once again work with the BBC National Orchestra of Wales with his musical scores appearing when Doctor Who returns in November for 3 special episodes celebrating the show's 60th anniversary with David Tennant as the 14th Doctor, before Ncuti Gatwa takes control of the TARDIS as the 15th Doctor, with his first episode airing over the festive period. On the returning to Doctor Who, Murray Gold says, "I am so happy to be invited back for another joyful ride in the TARDIS. I didn't think twice. Working with Russell and his team is just a pleasure." So is this saying that Murray Gold's only coming back for the specials?
I think it's confirmed that he's definitely doing series 14.
Yeah, just the way it's worded there makes me feel it sounds like he's only coming back for David Tennant's era. But when they include Ncuti, I don't know. But I would imagine I'll try that sentence again. I thought he was coming back for all of the new season as well. Like, they didn't say anything. It's just reading that there made me think, oh, is he only coming back for the 60th? But
you know, when Russell came back in, I thought he was only doing the 60th as well. But then obviously we missed out important context. Oh, but there's more. Yeah. So there's definitely more with Murray Gold.
Yeah, which is pretty exciting. Murray Gold, I know you've got kind of mixed opinions on him.
My only mixed opinions comes because he sometimes overuses his tracks when it comes to I Am the Doctor, or towards the Capaldi end of the era, I feel like his music was less recognizable.
Yeah.
I can't hum a single Capaldi tune, really.
I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm sure if I heard one, I'd be like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, that's the song. But they're not as like memorable as I Am the Doctor or the chanting choir that was David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston. For sure. I like more.
But I think a lot of that comes with the decreased budget after Russell left the show. So it's not entirely it's not his fault at all. His music was still really good for the majority of the Moffat era.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Murray Gold coming back, but I think I might be in the minority in that I'm not overly excited about it, simply because this is just more of what we've already had. And, that's great. Russell T Davies is back. He's bringing back some old faces. He's bringing back David Tennant briefly. Let's get some of the old guard back in. And there's those rumors, heavy, like salt, like take a tablespoon of salt about Moffat. It's just, I don't know if I really want to see and hear stuff I've already seen and heard. I kind of want a new era of Doctor Who with new fresh faces bringing a new perspective, younger talent coming up, not just let's pretend it's 2005. But I still like Murray Gold. I'm still excited to see, and I'm sure he's going to bring out some amazing tunes, as well as bring back some nostalgia. There's going to be some nostalgia music for certain in this.
You can tell there's going to be a lot of Series 4 music in the 60th anniversaries.
Yeah. But I saw online everybody being like, hell yeah, Doctor Who's back, baby. I was like, this isn't how, like, Doctor Who is a show that changes. You know, it going back to how it was before doesn't really feel like Doctor Who. Doctor Who's supposed to evolve and adapt and, you know, change with the times, not kind of go backwards and see what we've already seen. But I'm still excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm sounding really negative on it,
Yeah.
but I'm actually really excited. Like,
I get what you're saying. I'm not entirely thrilled either, but I don't entirely get the argument of the show needs to constantly change, because if you look at like people like Dudley Simpson, who was one of the original music composers, he was on the series for like 20 years or something.
mm-hmm.
So it's not like I do get what you're saying with we kind of need more
2000,
fresh faces.
2005 was almost 20 years ago.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so like
But to be fair, we've only had like 200 episodes since then, compared to the classic series where they almost had 600 episodes 20 years in.
yeah, but much lower quality. Yeah, I am excited for it. I think I would be more excited if it was somebody I didn't know, because then I would be like, oh, okay, cool. Show me what you've got. Show me what you've got. Let's see what's gonna happen with this. This is cool. It's one of the reasons why I'm so excited for Ncuti to take over as the Doctor, and I'm really. We talked about it for a solid year before it was even announced. All the problems we have with David Tennant coming back. I'm excited. Woo, David Tennant. But I want new and fresh. I don't want to see people I've already seen, but I'll be good. I'm being a negative person. It's a negative way to start the podcast. Murray Gold, yay.
I 100% get you, dude.
Yeah, it's exciting, but it's not the most exciting news, I think, but it is very, very cool. Also, speaking of this new era of Doctor Who, we have got a first look at Jinx, I would imagine that's how you say that. Jinx Monsoon joins the cast of Doctor Who Series 14. Award-winning actress, singer, and two-time RuPaul Drag Race winner, Jinx Monsoon will appear in a major role in the new series of Doctor Who. This is from TV Zone, by the way. We've also got some character pictures of this villain, and it is the most extravagant looking piano person I've ever seen in my life, and I love it. It's fantastic.
I love how camp the costume is.
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be back into the camp era, because series 1 of the new series feels very camp, very gay. I feel like Russell T Davies is going to bring back the gay, and I'm very excited about that.
Jinx has cultivated an international fan base after winning 2 seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race, including an all-star season where she was crowned Queen of Queens, competing against other winners of the show. Jinx joins Doctor Who after completing her sellout run on Broadway, where she made her highly anticipated debut as matron Mama Morton in Broadway's longest-running show, Chicago. Her run on Broadway was a historic moment for the LGBTQIA+ community. She has become the first drag queen to play the role of Mama Morton, breaking box office records in her extended 8-week run. Russell T Davies said, "In a galaxy of comets and supernovas, here comes the biggest star of all. Jinx Monsoon is on a collision course with the TARDIS, and Doctor Who will never be the same again." Jinx herself said, "I'm honored, thrilled, and utterly excited to join Doctor Who. Russell T Davies is a visionary and a brilliant writer. I can't wait to get into the weeds with him and the crew. I hope there's room in the TARDIS for my luggage." And that's pretty exciting stuff. I have never once in my life watched RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah, never have I.
I'm like only vaguely familiar with what it even is through like osmosis of being on the internet. But good for them. I'm excited to see them. Their villain looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I've got a picture of the costume up on screen for anybody that is watching this on YouTube. It is magnificent, honestly magnificent.
Yeah, and I think people started calling this casting when Russell T Davies was on her podcast last year or something.
Oh.
And I guess it was obvious just from
the
get-go
because
that they became good friends.
Because Russell only works with his friends, so.
But yeah, I'm not familiar with her work. I've never seen RuPaul's Drag Race, but I'm looking forward to it. She seems like a fun actress, you know. The Chicago thing sounds interesting. That's pretty big because she sounds talented. So
I wonder if she
more talent in Doctor Who.
I wonder if she's gonna be singing in her episode.
Yeah, that's one of the theories going around because at the moment there's a casting call for a violin player or something like that. So maybe, and we just saw footage of Ncuti Gatwa singing ABBA on the set. So who knows?
Yeah, and speaking of Ncuti Gatwa, we've had some new costume photos released for the episode that they're filming right now that is set in the 60s, and I've never been more in love with Doctor Who ever than I am with these photos of Ncuti Gatwa. And oh my god, what's the name of the lady?
Millie Gibson.
Millie Gibson. They look fantastic. That suit is incredible. Her dress is incredible. Their hair's fantastic. Like, it's just so goddamn cool. Also, the show being set in the 60s. You know, there's a maybe, you know.
Never happened before.
Yeah.
It's never happened before. It's unusual for Doctor Who, you know.
Yeah, it'll be really cool.
He looks fantastic.
He looks
so
like
good in that
he looks
shot.
like $1 million. He looks incredible.
Yeah.
We keep seeing like set photos and set videos of Ncuti, and every single time I see him, I'm like, "You're my favorite Doctor." Like I haven't seen seen him be the Doctor outside of that one line of dialogue from the trailer, and you know he's my favorite Doctor. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think on Monday and Tuesday this week the episode comes out. We're recording this on Wednesday, but on Monday and Tuesday we've been recording this 60s episode. But today, which is Wednesday, they started recording Ncuti's side of the Christmas special by the looks of it. So they're going back and forth between episodes. Obviously Ncuti Gatwa was busy with sex education at the very start of the series 14 shoot. So we're going back and forth. It sounds like an incredibly hard schedule.
Yeah,
just having to go back and forth in between episodes, and that sounds tough.
Yeah,
I don't envy him.
I bet it's exhausting. I bet it's completely exhausting. But you know, they're professionals and they love their craft, so I'm sure they're loving it.
And also just further proof of Millie Gibson and Ncuti Gatwa being great co-stars together. On Instagram, I think this is where the image comes from. Ncuti Gatwa's like, "The Doctor will see you now," and Millie Gibson's comment is, "Can the Doctor give me some of his bum?"
That is inappropriate in a workplace environment. Yeah, they're great. I'm excited to see Millie Gibson as well because you know I'm familiar with Ncuti Gatwa because I've seen Sex Education. I've watched it for I think since season 1. So for quite a good few years I've known about Ncuti Gatwa. Millie Gibson I have never seen before in my life, and I'm really excited to see what she's like as a companion. I'm hoping she's pretty great. She kind of gives me Clara vibes. I don't know what it is about her. Just kind of reminds me of Clara. So. And
I can see that, yeah, it's just kind of the face.
Yeah, it gives me Clara vibes. And, you know, I look back on Clara with the biggest love ever. I love Clara so much now than when I did when she was a companion, just because of mainly Yaz.
I think I need to go back to series 7 to 9 because I haven't seen them properly since it aired.
Yeah.
So I remember feeling negative about her,
Same.
but I presume she'll be better now.
I was really negative about Clara. Well, I went through like so many emotions with Clara because I started liking her, and then I didn't like her when they made her the most important person to ever exist of all time ever, and then I started liking her again when she was with Capaldi because I thought that was actually an interesting dynamic for her. like character, and then when she gets like she starts being like, oh no, I'm the Doctor, I can do this, I've known the Doctor for ages now, and then she dies. I was like, that's brilliant, that's fantastic. Then they kind of backtrack on the death and make it not so good, but that's Doctor Who.
Classic Doctor
Yeah.
Who. They did the same thing with Bill a season later.
Yeah, they did almost the exact same thing with them going off on a spaceship with their girlfriend. Like, What do you mean? What do you mean Moffat was running out of ideas? Russell T Davies talked about Ncuti in our next news segment here. He was speaking with the Radio Times following Ncuti coming up on the annual TV 100 list. The returning showrunner spoke about a secret he's keeping, and it's all about how great the incoming Doctor is in the lead role. Sometimes you know you've got a secret and you hold it close to your chest and let it burn because secrets are so delicious, Russell teased. I've got that right now, because my secret is seeing Ncuti with Millie Gibson on rushes of Doctor Who every single day, and oh my god, this is so good. Speaking specifically about what Ncuti will bring to the iconic sci-fi role, Russell added, I can promise you a completely new Doctor, and yet a Doctor utterly faithful to the 60 years that came before. Soon the secret will be out, and we'll all be dancing. Meanwhile, Ncuti himself said, filming is going great. It was a tough start as I was doing Sex Education and Doctor Who at the same time for 2 months at the beginning. But now that Sex Ed is wrapped and I'm just in Doctor, it has been so much fun having full reign to explore and find the character. It's truly the funniest role, and the action never stops. And that's not surprising to me that he was like, it was really stressful at the start, because we were talking about how they were delaying the Doctor Who shooting for Sex Education, and how he was shooting both, and how his like entire week seemed to be filled with shooting Sex Education and Doctor Who back to back. And it's like, my god, that would have been just exhausting. But yeah. I'm really interested to see what this next season of Sex Education is going to be like, because they were doing reshoots for ages with that.
I still need to see past episode 1. The day he got cast in Doctor Who, I watched episode 1. I never returned back to the show.
You suck.
I really enjoyed episode 1.
You suck. You should just binge it. It's an easy binge. An absolute. It's like what? It's like what? 30 episodes? Like.
Oh god, there's too much TV, my dude.
Just put it on tonight, and you'll be done by tomorrow evening. That's not that long. Like.
I have sleep and work to do.
No, you don't. You've got to watch TV. Call in sick. Like.
But yeah, what Russell T Davies is basically saying is very generic. Oh yeah, the guy I chose to be the Doctor is really good.
Yeah,
ever.
We're so good at choosing actors.
But yeah, I trust Russell, because since the show came back in 2005, I don't think there's been a bad actor in the role of the Doctor or the companion.
No, all the acting has always been great. There's never been a performance from the main cast in Doctor Who where I've thought, ooh, that's a bit rough, you're not a good actor. I've always thought everyone is great at acting. When it comes to Doctor Who, they cast really well. The thing that lets it down usually is the writing in Doctor Who. But Russell T Davies is a good writer, so hopefully that will stay consistent. I just have this like small fear like crawling away in the back of my brain of, what if it sucks? What if this is terrible? Like, but I think that's just, I think I only have that fear, right? I think I've only got that fear because we went through, like, when did Jodie become the Doctor? Like 2016, 17, something like that?
2017, yeah.
2017. So we went through like, 4 or 5 years of Jodie being the Doctor, and nobody saying anything about it, and there being no marketing about it, and no behind-the-scene photos, and no hype before the seasons come out. Everybody was just silent, and then a new season would come out, nobody would talk about it, and everybody would move on. And it was, you'd be like, oh, this is Doctor Who now. Now people are talking about Doctor Who, and people are getting excited about it, and Russell is marketing it. And there's all these behind-the-scene photos and teases, and ooh, look how great this is. I'm like, oh, this feels wrong. This isn't right. Something's off here. Like,
I've gone through phases of either really liking Russell's stuff or really disliking Russell's stuff. His era wasn't perfect.
No,
I think some episodes are stronger than others, obviously, but overall, I would say his quality is pretty good, and I doubt his quality would be ruined. I doubt it'll be bad now. So
See, I
we'll see.
personally speaking, I prefer Moffat's era to Davis's era. I love Davis's era a lot. It was my like childhood growing up. I absolutely love that era. I'm currently rewatching through all of New Who, and I'm still in Davis's era, and it's great. It's great. It's superb. But there was just I really like Moffat's dumb. I say dumb. His stupidly smart writing, where he's like, ha ha ha, look how fun, all this fun character. Well, actually, Moffat didn't really do character stuff. He more did like huge overarching plots, and that's what I liked. Davis kind of does the character stuff. But like, Moffat's run with Matt Smith and Moffat's run with Capaldi. Just Capaldi's more rocky, but his Matt Smith run is almost perfect in my eyes. I'd absolutely love it. But I'm excited for Davis, especially because, when we got Davis in the first time in Doctor Who, he was an experienced writer, but he hadn't done as much writing or as much shows as what Davis of 2023 has done. And Davis of 2023 is a goddamn good writer.
I still need to see so much of Russell T Davis's work.
He has done so many. He's done so many shows recently. He had another one that came out on ITVX with the lady that's in all of the Johnny Depp movies, whose name
Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, he that show came out like a couple months ago or something like that. He's just had so many shows on the go.
And he did It's a Sin and Years and Years and Cucumber and Banana. Those are names of penises. Those are euphemisms for penises, by the way.
Yeah, wow.
Cucumber and banana.
I thought they were fruits and vegetables. In our next bit of news, Doctor Who's 60th anniversary celebrated with a new series of novels. This seems like a waste. Nobody knows how to read. Doctor Who's Diamond Anniversary is being marked with the release of 6 novels devoted to 6 different eras. The upcoming Doctor Who 60th anniversary continues to build fanfare with a slew of new books that are now confirmed to mark the occasion. This is from the Radio Times. 6 brand new novels are set to be released, which will each be inspired by a different era in the long-running sci-fi history. With the show's Diamond Anniversary taking place this November, the books are set to be released on the 26th of October. There's been no titles revealed for each of the books, and there's only been some vague plot points revealed as synopses for them. They will be penned by the authors who will be known to Whovians, like Jacqueline Rayner and Dave Rudden, while there will also be stories from Natasha Suri, Kaylin Byron, Nikita Gill, and Mark Griffiths. So, Scott, here's a test for you. Who is Jacqueline Rayner and Dave Rudden?
They've done a few Doctor Who books. That's all I know about them.
Okay. The books include The 1960s by Jacqueline Rayner with a synopsis that reads, "It's Christmas, 1963, when 6-year-old Gerald starts playing a new game, Daleks. It's a game full of dangers and daring and terrible mutated monsters. Gerald's parents think it's harmless at first, but then things start to get out of hand as Gerald insists there are Yetis in the basement and Cybermen invading London. Desperate for help, what Gerald's family really need right now is a doctor." So this book here, this one, does not sound like it's canon at all. It sounds really fun. It sounds like a really weird meta sort of like playful book, but it does not sound like it fits within the quote-unquote canon of Doctor Who very well.
It sounds like that most recent 11th Doctor audio drama box set, where every story sounded meta for some reason. I still need to listen to that. There's so much Big Finish, surprisingly.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's
so
wow, I didn't know that, yeah, geez. The 1970s by Natasha Suri will focus on London in 1978, where tensions are high. The synopsis reads, "Seema and her family are struggling, but she has learned to keep her head down, not to create trouble. That is until she and her 2 friends, Terence and Inderjit, decide to join an anti-National Front protest in the East End. And when trouble does inevitably find them, the friends are saved by the appearance of a mysterious, seemingly broken down bus. But inside this bus is like nothing any of them have ever seen. It is a journey through the most wonderful landscapes where visions of hope..." Sorry, I'm drinking water and it's making me burp. "Where visions of hope and dreams envelop the lost group. Who or what is this strange place? The tall, grumpy man with white hair might know the answers, but then he seems just as scared as they are. That makes me kind of think of Capaldi. Tall, or though, is there any other doctors?
Like it could be
Pertwee.
Capaldi, it could be Pertwee,
Yeah.
it could be Hartnell.
Was Hartnell tall?
It could be Cushion.
I don't think Hartnell was tall. Hartnell seems like a small guy.
I mean, if you're like a teenager, I guess you could be tall.
Not yeah, but like Hartnell was like a shrunken, like old Yoda type dude, you know.
I'm not sure what this story is or how it connects to Doctor Who. It feels like it was a story that wasn't Doctor Who related, and then the publisher was like, "Hey, this kind of feels like Doctor Who. Let's just add it into this collection."
Yeah, the when they was talking about a broken down bus, I could, the Big Finish, like Deadpool thing
with Iris Wildtime. Series.
That's what it made me think of. And the bus that's smaller. In 1980s, the 1980s book is by Mark Griffiths, and it reads: in a sprawling, rundown housing estate in South London, a man returning from a night out in the West End finds himself pursued by a strange hooded figure. Did I write this? So, naturally, when the Doctor and Romana arrive in the TARDIS the next day, they find themselves in the middle of a crime scene. But when a child genius, Mathew Pickles, I did write this, inventor of a hugely popular handheld video game, arrives to help them crack the case, they discover there is more than meets the eye. Someone has been messing with the technology that's not of this earth, blurring the lines between human and cyber, and it looks like they're out for revenge. In a world on the brink of gadgets and gizmos and dangerous tech, the pair must uncover the killer before they strike again. Mathew Pickles is a hilarious name and is 100% a name that you would only find in a book.
Yeah, or in a Rugrats cartoon.
Yeah. That's great. That one sounds very fun. It doesn't sound super Doctor Who-y. It kind of just sounds like a fun little 80s sci-fi adventure, but we will see.
Yeah, with the Doctor and Romana weirdly shoehorned in. Mm-hmm. Also, 1980s, it's the first story with the Doctor and his companion, which is... I'm not sure what the theming of this series of books is or why it exists yet. I'm not entirely sold on the premise.
Yeah. There is a mistake in this. I would imagine it's a mistake because the next paragraph reads the noughties novel. I feel like they meant to say the 90s because the next paragraph after that is the 2000s. And the 2000s is the noughties. So I feel like whoever wrote this wasn't really sure what the noughties is. So I'm going to correct it for them.
And also it says it's set in Dublin in 1994.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. That was the noughties, right? Remember? It goes 2003, 1994, 2005, 2006. The 90s novel will be written by Dave Rudden and will be set in Dublin in 1994 when the Doctor and Donna arrive at a tiny nightclub known as Headlong. Take a guess as to which Doctor this is. Headlong is famous for precisely one thing: holding a karaoke night where 4 young women came together to make the biggest girl band of the 90s, the Honeybloods. Donna has convinced the Doctor to visit their first ever concert. She reckons she could have been a Honeyblood if the timelines were different, and he has begrudgingly agreed. Naturally, the band is kidnapped by a deadly pack of siren-like creatures who feed off human adulation, usually harvested by taking the form of cultural icons. So it's a kind of fun aliens pretending to be humans type of invasion of the body snatchers type deal, but with a band. Mm-hmm. Which is cool. I for whatever reason, there being a pop band in the 90s called Honeybloods that was the biggest thing ever, that is like self-contained into the Doctor Who's universe, kind of rubs me the wrong way for whatever reason. Where, because the Doctor Who universe is supposedly set in our same timeline, but there's a band that we've never heard of that's the biggest band ever. Why can't they just be like a weird underground band that Dawn is into for some reason? I
mean, there's lots of fictional bands and shit in the Doctor Who universe. Yeah. I'm not sure where you're getting at.
Well, it's the fact that they're like the biggest band ever. They're so big. They're like the Spice Girls level. But I mean, they're just the Spice Girls that aren't called the Spice Girls because of copyright. Like, it's like a.
I mean, there's a million things that we get around copyright wise in Doctor Who universes. It's very strange, but
Yeah, and then moving into the 2000s, or should I say the 90s, the book is written by Kaylin Byron and follows the Doctor and Rose as they stumble across 13-year-old Lily, who they both agree needs their help. The synopsis reads, Lily thinks there are monsters in the closet hiding under the bed and that they've taken her mother and brother, who went missing months ago. When asked about the mother, Lily can only say it's made of immense light and power.
monster.
What did I say?
You said when asked about the mother.
Oh, okay, hang on. When asked about the monster, Lily can only say it's made of immense light and power. Rose and the Doctor must find out who and what the creature is and where it has taken to Lily's family. It is a search that will take them from the Cardiff Rift right back to the childhood of Lily's grandmother and another disappearance all those years ago. This makes me think it's Eccleston's Doctor.
Yeah. It has to be.
Yeah.
It should be, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because if it's the 10th Doctor again, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
This one sounds the least connected to the era so far. I don't know about you.
I feel like most of them you could fit into any era except for the one that's set in the 80s. Because the 80s one, it seems very era appropriate because it's about like video games and stuff like that. And every other era you could kind of mix and match, I think. Maybe the 90s because it's about the pop band, but you could stick that in any modern time.
And also the 60s with a kid playing Doctor Who games because Doctor Who just started. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's the only time the show is popular.
But yeah, obviously the kid is called Lily because Rose. That's the only reason why the kid is called Lily.
I didn't even make that connection. Like, the most recent will be in the 2010s. Do we have a shorten for the 2010s yet? The 10s? We just call it the 10s?
For 10s, I guess.
Yeah, that's not fun. The Tenties. The most recent will be in the Tenties by Ncuti Gatwa. Described as a poem of tragedy and beauty, it features one of the Doctor's most terrifying foes. The Weeping Angels are an ancient race of terrible power, the synopsis reads. With the ability to propel their victims backwards in time, their true form is a mystery. They turn to stone on sight, so they wander the universe, cursed never to see one another. But they see everything else, the whole course of time and space, even the journey of their deadliest enemy, the Doctor. In this extraordinary epic poem, the Weeping Angels sing the story of the years they battled the Doctor and everything in between. As, like a Greek chorus, they tell the world of their tragic... like a Greek chorus, they tell the world with their tragic tale. This one sounds quite interesting. If it is, like, not a novel and just straight up a poem, I feel like it's going to be a novel with, like, a poem in it, or, like, a very, like, I don't know, 30-page poem, like a Greek novel thing, you know, like...
Yeah, God, I'm not sure what the length of it will be.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what kind of format it's going to be in. It's... Because when I first heard about it, I thought it was going to be, like, a series of poems, but I guess it's just a poem.
It could be, like, do you know the Iliad?
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, dude.
It's Greek literature, but it's like
nerd.
It's like I think it's with poems anyway, but it's like telling this story of this like hero or whatever. It's a very famous book. I don't know enough about it off the top of my head to talk about. So hang on, I'm gonna give it a wee Google. The Iliad. Yeah, it's written by Homer Simpson.
I know him.
The Iliad is one of two major ancient Greek epic poems attributed to Homer. It is one of the oldest extant works of literature still widely read by modern audiences, as with the Odyssey. Poems divided into 24 books and was a dactylic hexameter, whatever that means. But yeah, it's a 24 book poem, and it details like this huge battle or whatever from Greek times. I've never read it because I'm not that boring, but apparently it's very good.
I feel I like how the Weeping Angel story or poem is at least breaking the format a little. It's
Yeah.
like a little experiment.
I wonder if they're going to
which,
talk about.
they-
I wonder if they're going to talk about how they're part of Division.
Oh Christ! I was watching the Sarah Jane Adventures today, and Unit pop up, and I'm like, oh yeah, where's the snake?
Where's Snake
man?
Guy?
Where is he?
You guys are run by a snake, right?
And also, just speaking of Homer, did The Simpsons ruin the name Homer forever? Because I feel like the name Homer is just extinct now.
I feel like it was pretty much extinct before Homer was called Homer. You know, it's a very, very, very old school name. I mean, it's been around since Greek times. Like, but yeah,
So out of these novels, which one do you think you'd want to pick up the most?
honestly, I'm most interested in the Weeping Angels one. That's the only one that I was like, oh, that sounds like an interesting take, like an interesting perspective to bring, because it's not written from the Doctor's perspective; it's written from the Weeping Angels' perspective. You know, I've never seen a story from the Weeping Angels' perspective. You know, it's very rare. Have we ever had a Doctor Who story where the villain is the main character?
I mean, there's the War Master series. Big Finish has done a lot of villain.
Big Finish
series.
doesn't count. I was meaning episodes of Doctor Who. Like,
Episodes of Doctor Who.
I don't know if we've had episodes where
I don't think so.
where like humans are the main character or something like that, but never really from like the pure villain's perspective. And then the Doctor comes in and just like shoots him with a gun.
I mean, if you consider the 12th Doctor a bad man, I guess
whole
when
point,
he pushed that
his
guy
whole
up the
point,
robot
his
off
whole point was he's a good man. Actually, that was the whole arc.
Yeah, but he pushed that robot dude off a balloon or something.
Or did he just convince the robot guy to jump, which is better, I guess.
For me, I would say the book I want to read the most is the 60s one,
Yeah.
because I like meta things. I like when the show's popularity is contextualized inside of a Doctor Who story. It's
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah,
I dig it.
I like meta stuff as well. It's fun. It's always fun. You're like, haha, you're a loser like me. In our next news segment, David Tennant confirms the return of Doctor Who Confidential style show, which is not really shocking. We've been assuming this was happening for, again, like a year.
Yeah.
A successor to the fan favorite series has been rumored for some time, says Radio Times. They must listen to our podcast. David Tennant seems to have confirmed the return of behind-the-scenes series in Doctor Who Confidential following earlier rumors of the fan favorite show heading back to BBC Three. Oh no one's gonna see it. No one's gonna see it on BBC Three. That's
I will.
you and someone's grandpa that doesn't know how to change a channel. Last week it was reported that Doctor Who Unleashed, a spiritual successor to Confidential, would premiere alongside the upcoming 60th anniversary specials starring Tennant and Catherine Tate. Speaking at a recent GalaxyCon event, Tennant added fuel to the fire by referencing a behind-the-scenes crew on the set of the new episodes, although there's no official confirmation just yet of any such project existing. It was absolutely thrilling, he said, recalling his meeting with Doctor Who comic book creators. It was all filmed by the various Doctor Who Confidential style people, so you'll see all that, but it was very exciting for them to visit us on set. It's just David Tennant. I bet he got told off after saying that. Some fans have interpreted this as definitive proof that Doctor Who Confidential is returning, perhaps with the new title Unleashed, although others have shown caution about getting prematurely overexcited. After all, it's possible that the Doctor Who Confidential style people that Tennant refers to could have simply been working on a special feature for the eventual DVD and Blu-ray release or content for social media. I was about to say, it could just be like a YouTube thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a bit of a non-story, but I'd be down for Doctor Who Confidential returning because I was really a big fan of that show, at least for the first 4 years. It only lasted until Series 6 of the show, and by Series 6, it started doing like weird challenges, like where Arthur DeVille starts driving a car around a racing track or whatever.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Maybe their viewer numbers started dropping down and they were trying to find ways to bring people back, because it doesn't seem like a show that you really need to mess with the format for. Go behind the scenes, interview people, show some monsters getting made in the costumes department. Like, what else do you really need? But at the same time, does that need to be a show when you can just include that in the Blu-ray? That is easy. That's DVD extra material, baby.
I mean, for Series 8, they kind of did a Doctor Who Extra, it was called, and we did it on YouTube, where it was like a 10-minute look at behind the scenes of each episode. Whereas Doctor Who Confidential is 45 minutes, which is way too long for a behind the scenes look at the TV show. Just make it half an hour. I think half an hour is the perfect length. And you could, I really enjoyed Doctor Who Confidential, so if it comes back, I'd be very happy.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we have got Channel 5 Doc Who documentary. Documentary. Next up, we've got Channel 5 to explore Doctor Who's secrets and scandals with a documentary. Channel 5 are to explore Doctor Who's secrets and scandals in a new 90-minute documentary. The documentary was provisionally due to air over Easter, however, it's understood that plans have changed and this has now been pushed back. No further details are available. This, I don't really care about. I don't think Channel 5 makes content I care about at all,
Yeah, Channel 5 are the... So in the UK, if you're outside of the UK, in the UK we only have like 5 main broadcasters. There's the 2 BBC channels, BBC 1, BBC 2, ITV, Channel 4, and Channel 5. Out of the 5, Channel 5 is probably the lowest of the low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't... I don't even know if I watch any shows they make. What does Channel 5... What's their, number one show?
Their number one show was probably Home and Away or something.
Peppa Pig. Yeah, they do a lot of, challenge shows like Ben Fogel in the Woods, The Challenge UK, Behind Closed Doors, Rich House Poor House. It's a lot of reality TV. The Gadget Show. And then there's also, they do kids shows, which, to be fair, they're kids shows, pretty iconic. You like Peppa Pig, Thomas the Tank Engine, Ben and Holly. I haven't thought about that in years. Oh my god. Fireman Sam, Noddy. Do you remember Noddy?
Yeah, I used to be a sucker for Milkshake, which is their early morning 5-year-old children's program brand.
Oh my god,
on
Rory
Channel
the
5
race
right
car.
now is... Oh, Rory the racing car. Come on, that was a classic, iconic.
Lazy Town. Oh,
on Channel on Channel 5 at the moment, they've got Casualty 24/7, which is a documentary. Motorway Cops is coming up next. And then at midnight, it's some other shit, or so much shit. More Motorway Cops. Criminals Caught on Camera. Sinkholes. A documentary about sinkholes.
I will watch that one.
The description reads: sucking down homes and destroying lives. Sinkholes can appear anywhere from nowhere.
I bet that documentary is going to go one of two ways, right? It's either genuinely ridiculously well made and super interesting, but nobody will watch it because it's on Channel 5, or, right, it's going to be really, really dull, and they're going to be like, sinkholes happen because God said that you're bad.
Just the worst channel.
It is definitely the lowest. They make the bottom tier content,
But now it's because now Channel 5 is owned by Paramount, so occasionally they'll do, here's a preview of a Paramount Plus show, that one of Sylvester Stallone or something.
Yeah.
And then people get angry because they want to watch more, but they don't want to subscribe to Paramount Plus. It's a great idea.
They should instead change it to Paramount the channel, Why don't they just air Paramount Plus shows on there? Like, why don't they just be like, you can watch it right now all on Paramount Plus, or you can come here every Tuesday and watch it on Channel 5?
Because then nobody would pay for Paramount Plus.
But would you? Would you really watch a show weekly with ads rather than just pay for Paramount Plus?
I can just fast forward the adverts.
Can you fast forward? I mean, you could record it, I guess, and then go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they still get paid for the ads if they play, you know. They get paid for the ads either way. If you record it, they get paid for it. You don't need to watch them. Like, yeah, I don't know. But Paramount Plus is a decent service. It's just got a terrible, terrible UI. But what's...
every streaming service has a bad UI.
They get worse. Every time they change a UI on a streaming service, it gets worse. They all suck right now. It's horrendous. I hate them all. Whenever I opened up the Netflix app really recently, and I wanted to throw my phone. It's impossible to use. Like, it's absolutely impossible.
I opened up ITVX earlier to watch Sarah Jane Adventures, and for some reason there was like a line covering like 5% of the bottom half of my screen, and the top half was cut out. So I had to get out of the app, restart my TV, and then go back into the app. It was wonderful.
That is great. That is pretty great. In our next little news segment, we've got Samantha Bond returns as Mrs. Wormwood. Let's see. Big Finish Productions has today revealed details for the second volume of the audio dramas featuring stars from the Doctor Who spin-off series, The Sarah Jane... I almost got through that. The Sarah Jane Adventures. In Revenge of Wormwood, Samantha Bond, best known for her iconic role in James Bond and Downton Abbey, returns as Mrs. Wormwood, leader of malevolent aliens, the Bane, for the first time in 15 years. And this is a character we've seen before on the podcast, isn't it? Because we covered the episode that she's in with the Bane, and they broke Batman's back, if I remember correctly. I might be mixing that up with something else.
She is a Bane, and she created Luke. And when this news was initially announced, I was thinking, are they going to bring back Luke now that Sarah Jane is gone? Because they could go for the whole
Luke
son
Adventures.
and mother dynamic now that... But yeah, they're bringing back Luke for this box set as well, which is going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see a more adult take on their kind of relationship, because essentially Miss Wormwood is Luke's mother, which is... again, I just watched Sarah Jane Adventures today. It was the Series 2 final where the Bane, Miss Wormwood, returns. And we do have a whole dynamic of Miss Wormwood being like, you can travel with me, be my son, you can be the prince, and I could be the queen of the ruler of the galaxy, or whatever.
Some Darth Vader
I'm just
stuff.
wondering what kind of... Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I still haven't listened to the newest box set. I'm still watching the Sarah Jane Adventures. I imagine this box set is going to be tough to go through because I miss Sarah Jane.
Yeah. I will not listen to it because I don't care about Sarah Jane as much as you do. But like, I'm glad she's back. Good for her. Good for her.
Yeah, she's really good. She's a really good villain.
Yeah, she was good in the episode we covered as well. So it was a good time. God, that was so long ago now that we did Sarah Jane.
Oh God, yeah, October 2021.
God, I'll check. Let's find out.
Had to be, yeah.
It's easier if I go.
So we did a whole Sarah Jane month.
Was it a whole? Oh yeah, and we watched The Hand of Fear. God.
And the K9 and Company.
Spin-offs. A year ago, Sarah Jane Adventures. It was on the exact date of
October 2021.
22nd.
October 16th.
The 22nd of October.
Oh.
22nd of October 2021. We covered the Sarah Jane Adventures. It was episode 23 of the podcast. We're currently on episode 99. We're on episode 99. So, yeah, Crazy. It's been a while. Next up, we have got Children in Need. Doctor Who executive producer Phil Collinson has revealed in the latest issue of Doctor Who magazine that Doctor Who is set for a unique contribution to Children in Need 2023, which takes place in November. It follows a sketch with Comic Relief co-founder Lenny Hendry and current Doctor Who David Tennant for Red Nose Day earlier this month. Collinson told Doctor Who magazine, "Without making any promises, we have the beginnings of plans to contribute something absolutely unique for Children in Need this year," which is a fun. The Comic Relief sketch was pretty fun. I wonder if they're going to do like a continuity thing, just have or they'll like continue whatever story they set up in that sketch, or they'll just have someone else regenerate into David Tennant, or maybe they'll bring back a bunch of other people. Children in Need sketches, Doctor Who sketches, it's always fun, light-hearted fun, isn't it?
Yeah. The very first one I ever saw was the little short of David Tennant just having regenerated from Christopher Eccleston, and they did a 5-minute short with him and Rose, which was the first proper time we got to see him as the 10th Doctor. So maybe my imagination is maybe you're going to do the same thing, but he says already unique, so that's not unique. No. It's already been done. So
yeah. I
imagine we can overhype this.
He could just,
then it'll be a big letdown.
I was about to say he could just be overhyping, getting too excited.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Blue Peter competition. Launching on Blue Peter this Friday. I didn't even know Blue Peter was still a show. Viewers aged between 5 and 15 will be asked to draw Doctor Who fan art and say why they would love the opportunity to win an exclusive set tour. One talented winner will go behind the scenes to discover how the iconic series is made and find out all about the work of the production design team. The winner will also receive a rare collectible, Doctor Who's 60th Blue Peter Competition Winners Badge. The limited edition badge will be revealed on Blue Peter on Friday the 28th of April and be awarded to the top 500 competition entries. Editor of Blue Peter, Ellen Evans, says, "We're celebrating the 260th anniversaries this year for Doctor Who and for the Blue Peter badge. The two programs have collaborated many times over the years, so I'm thrilled to be able to offer such a unique and exciting experience," which is cool. I'm honestly amazed kids are watching Blue Peter. Are they? Are people watching Blue Peter?
Apparently not as much.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, it used to be on 3 times a week. Now it's only once a week, I think. So
yeah,
it's definitely declined.
Yeah. I remember Blue Peter used to be quite big. I remember people talked about it all the time when I was a kid. And now I don't know if I was to go and speak to the kids that if I was like, "Hey, do you know Blue Peter?" They'd be like, "Go away from me, strange man. Why are you talking to me?" But yeah, we should enter this competition. We're between 5 and 15, right?
The 2 Blue Peter competitions I remember from when 3 Blue Peter competitions I remember when I was a kid was. One of them was to design a monster for Series 2, which turned out to be a Zorbeloff. I entered that competition. I lost, obviously.
What monster did you make? What was your monster?
I don't fucking remember.
Oh, I think you're lying.
It's been like 17 years.
Yeah.
But the second one was to do a competition to win a role, which turned out to be the little ginger kid in Utopia, which apparently he's a big actor now. He's an Outlander.
Oh, okay. That's good for him. He got some contacts. I remember that competition. That's the only one I remember is that one. Because I remember being like, "God damn it, I'm so jealous of that kid," even though I didn't enter the competition. I remember seeing him and being like, "Oh, that's that kid that won the competition," and then they murder and mutilate his body in the next episode. Like, Jesus Christ.
And then the third one I remember was to design the junkyard TARDIS in The Doctor's Wife. The little TARDIS. I haven't seen that episode in so long. I don't remember the exact.
Yeah, I don't remember that episode
of the TARDIS
very well. I remember that episode being amazing. That's a Neil Gaiman episode.
It was. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember the TARDIS design in that episode. But that's cool. Yeah, that's
good for them. Good for Blue Peter. I haven't seen a show in like 10 years, so God knows if it's any good now.
It's probably exactly the same as it's always been, which is fine for kids.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our last little bits of news that we've got here. We have got a Doctor Who. What is this? Serpent Crest limited edition, signed edition, green and black. Is this just like a collection of art? A limited signed edition art book? What is this?
No, it's a audio drama adventure from BBC something or other. I don't know the full context, but
Just not.
we've seen this. I think this is like the third out of four of the collection. We've covered the first two. And it's a beautiful cover, but £149 is too much.
Yeah, it is. The art looks really nice. It looks really cool. I would like it if it was, maybe a lot cheaper. Like, I would maybe pay 50 quid for this. 150 quid. No thanks. And now let us move in to everybody's favorite segment of the show. Let's look at all the Blake 7 releases that Big Finish is doing this month, coming into May. Do you want to take this first one?
Yeah. I want you to play an audio cue every time I say one word here. And I think you know what audio cue I want you to play.
Yeah.
The first one we have today is Torchwood Among Us, Part 1. Torchwood are on the run as the world puts itself back together. Torchwood are there to pick up the pieces, and they find something really nasty hiding in them. A house in a state where everyone's gone mad, an industrial state interrogation facility, a lighthouse in Iceland, the comment section of a newspaper, troubles everywhere, and so are Torchwood. So this is the start of Series 7 of Torchwood.
That's fun. I've seen half of Season 1 of Torchwood. So,
yeah, I just started Series 6 of Torchwood, which is also a Big Finish adventure, I'm enjoying the audio dramas for Torchwood. This is the first proper series that Eve Miles has been in since Series 4, which was a TV series. Looking at the cast list, we have Helena Breck as Mrs. Penis Implant. And we have Sam Stafford as Mr. Penis Implant. So I'm glad they found each other.
yeah, it was meant to be. It was meant to be.
We also have Barry Beans.
Barry Beans.
We have Mark Elstop as Gammon. Amazing. So yeah.
Torchwood is still alive and well. Very much so.
I'm looking forward to it.
Next up, we have got Doctor Who, Daleks, Genesis of Terror, written by Terry Nation. In a paved garden outside time, the Doctor is presented with an awful prophecy, the conquest of all time by the Daleks. To prevent this terrible fate, the Time Lords have decided on a radical course to weaponize time themselves and destroy the Daleks before they were ever created, and they want the Doctors to carry out this extraordinary task. Soon, he and his companions, Sarah and Harry, are on the battle-ravaged planet Scarrow, where a war has been raging for centuries. The war is now waged by teenagers using the last surviving weapons. Everything is desperate, but the Khaled's chief scientist has a new weapon that he thinks might just change everything. This is 2 discs. The second disc is an interview, and the first disc is a full cast version of Terry Nation's first draft of episode 1 of Genesis of the Daleks, with Nicholas Briggs providing the stage directions, plus readings by individual cast members of the storylines for the other episodes. Which, this is kind of cool that they've managed to find a first draft of Genesis of the Daleks, which we did just cover. This month? Last month. This month. This month. Yeah, this month on the podcast. Which is really cool that they've managed to find this. Also, Tom Baker looks like a ghost.
What in the
Set photo and the
backstage?
backstage photos, he looks like a ghost.
Alright.
Like,
Yeah, I do wish this was released like last month so I could listen to it before doing Genesis of the Daleks, because I would make note of more of the differences, but beggars can't be choosers. I'm not a fan of it just being episode 1, having a full cast version while the rest is just a summary. I'm not sure why anybody would pay the £11 to listen to that.
yeah.
It's not my cup of tea. And also, I don't like the idea of the Lost Stories now being the original draft of other stories. Like when the Lost Stories started as like a series of audio dramas, it was episodes that hadn't been made. But now it's just the first draft of this episode, which I'm not so keen on.
Yeah, and you know, first drafts of things usually aren't good, so even less incentive to really buy it. It's more a curiosity thing than a this is going to be good type thing, isn't it?
Yeah. The next one we have is Doctor Who, the Sixth Doctor Adventures, Purity Unleashed. Marine biologist Hebe Harrison has vanished from the timelines, and the Doctor and Mel must find a way of getting their new friend back. But little do they realize what perils lie ahead of them, or who stands against them. This is 3 stories. We have Broadway Belongs to Mel.
Broadway belongs to me. That's an exclamation mark, you fool.
Well, Mel is in the story, and I'm thinking she's going to be on Broadway, so
and she's going to kill.
Yeah, she is going to be in
She's going to be
Broadway.
amazing at it. Like,
this is by Matthew Sweet. You are very sweet, Matthew.
Thanks.
We have Purification by Chris Chapman and Time Burst by Ian Potter. So this is the 3rd box set of the new Sixth Doctor Adventures brand. And if you click on where it says Doctor Who, the Sixth Doctor Adventures, and you look at all the previous pictures of this box set series, look at all the pictures of Hebe Harrison.
Hang on, where am I clicking? What am I clicking? How am I clicking it?
Just underneath the picture where it says the Sixth Doctor Adventures.
I think you mean above the picture, you fucking idiot. Right.
No, I mean below the picture, actually.
It's above the picture, actually. Wow, this.
It's also below.
It's the same photo of the lady over and over again.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Over the last 3 boxes, it's just the same picture over and over again, which she's the only person on these covers who is still looking like this in the present day. I don't understand why they have to use the same picture of her.
That's weird. Yeah.
It's very strange, but I've heard nothing but good things about this new series. I'll eventually get round to it.
Yeah. There's a lot of Big Finish, isn't there? There is a lot of Big Finish.
Especially this month.
Yes. Next up, we have got Doctor Who Once and Future Past Lives. The Time War. The Doctor has been injured and brought to a Time Lord field hospital. His body glows with energy, but this is no regeneration into a future form. Instead, the Doctor's past faces begin to appear as he flits haphazardly between incarnations. Staggering to his TARDIS, the Doctor sets out to solve the mystery of his degeneration. Who has done this to him? How and why? From the Earth to the stars, across an array of familiar times and places, he follows clues to retrace his steps, encountering old friends and enemies along the way. Tumbling through his lives, the Doctor must stop his degeneration before he loses himself completely. Setting as his 4th incarnation, the Doctor goes in search of the monk with a vague memory that he had something to do with his degeneration. On Earth, the monk is meddling, bringing Sarah Jane Smith to the Future Unit HQ to steal a device for an alien race. The Doctor must help Kate Stewart and Osgood foil an invasion before he can confront the monk about what he knows. Is this like part of a series? Because I remember talking about degeneration. Yeah,
dude,
a bunch.
This is the 60th anniversary series from Big Finish.
Yes. That
which we are if Matthew wants to listen to this, we are covering it next month's news episode. So look forward to that. Look forward to our little review of episode 1 of his 60th anniversary series.
I don't.
Are you gonna listen to it?
What is? How do you? What is a big finish? I don't. How do I? Do I not watch it? Is there not pictures? How do I?
You can imagine these pictures if you want to.
What's this word? Imagination.
It
doesn't sound real.
But yeah, this is Sarah Jane picked up from the events of the Hand of Fear. So I'm guessing there's just gonna be 20 minutes of her wandering around Aberdeen with a little lunchbox.
Yeah, I imagine so, and it'll be thrilling to listen to.
You did skip over 2 box sets. We have Space 1999, which I've never heard of.
These aren't Doctor Who. That's why I skipped over them.
But also we have Dark Season, which is technically connected to Doctor Who. It stars Kate Winslet and Victoria Lambert. This is Russell T Davis's 1990s show, which is returning to Big Finish, and it has 4 episodes, one of them written by Russell T Davis himself, and I'm looking forward to this. I've only seen half of the original series of Dark Seasons.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to eventually, maybe, perhaps getting around to this. Maybe
never
someday.
Gonna happen. But do you know what is related to Doctor Who? That's the box set Doctor Who, The War Doctor Begins, Comrade in Arms. The Doctor is no more. A warrior has joined the time war between the Daleks and Gallifrey, but how far will he go? What lines will he cross? How much of himself will he sacrifice? This is, of course, following a young John Hurt as the Doctor, as the War Doctor, seeing the horrors of war, which I love the goddamn War Doctor. It's such an amazing character idea. This is 3 stories: A Mother's Love by Noga Falchion, Berserker by Timothy X Attack, with a name. Timothy X Attack does a lot of Big Finish, and his name doesn't sound fake. And Mementos by Phil Merline. He's got a strange last name. This is fun. It's part of, this is the 5th box set with the young War Doctor, and there's a lot. I am interested in this one, just because the character idea for me is super interesting. Like, I love the idea of the War Doctor starting as a young Doctor and fighting until he is an old ass man that John Hurt was in the 50th anniversary. Like, that's just tragic out its ass. And I can't wait to not listen to this, because I will not have the time.
There's too many boxes. As I said, I'm working through Torchwood Series 6. I've just listened to Torchwood Series 5, which had 12 episodes. Series 6 also has 12 episodes. Plus, I'm also working through the Time War, which is like 4. I've got 4 box sets of that to listen to. And then I might listen to the War Doctor with John Hurt, which has 4 box sets, and then I'll probably jump into this, which has 5 box sets, and there's also the War Master, and there's so much.
There is a lot, just too much. But do you want to take the last box set we've got here?
Yes, this is a series I've actually fallen out of listening to. I need to listen to the last one and also this one. It's the 9th Doctor Adventures Pioneers. The Doctor meets many remarkable people in his travels, those at the forefront of innovation and exploration, from a deep space colony ship seeking safe
You're doing well.
haven. It's just all the alliterations. To the frozen Arctic wastes and the foundation of ideas which will touch the lives of millions. The Doctor is there to lend a hand to the human race's greatest pioneers. And this is the start of Series 3 of Christopher
Eccleston's
series, which I need to listen to the last box set.
Yeah.
But in this box, if you look at the backstage picture, it looks like Christopher Eccleston is about to be crushed by 2 walls.
It does. It's like in Star Wars, the trash compactor. Like, yes. He lost his beard.
One of the returning people in this box set is actually Adam Martin, who was in the last box set. Apparently, he's a big Doctor Who YouTuber, and he got cast in this, and he's a recurring character, which is what we kind of wanted from the Ninth Doctor audio drama series, because there wasn't much connective tissues from what we covered before, but I like that there's more connective tissue. I like that idea. And also Louise Jameson, who was of course Leela in the Fourth Doctor era of his show, is playing a new character in this one. I'll eventually get around to it, maybe.
Yeah, if I hear good things, I'll probably check it out, but like the synopsis for this one to me sounds like it's going to be more of the same that we've had with Eccleston, where he's, going on these very self-contained episodes that don't really impact anything and don't really change his character too much. And, the Eccleston stuff is good, but it's not great. It's, it's like a solid 6, 7 out of 10 consistently, which is fine to listen to, but it's Big Finish is a heavy commitment, and it's a pricey commitment as well, and it's like...
Yeah, the price of this box set went up from $19.99 to $22.99, which is £3 extra. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that is. So is it going to be worth listening to it? Eccleston's great. He's does really well. And it's great that he's back and that he seems to clearly be enjoying doing Big Finish. I wish there was more meat to the bones in these stories,
Maybe we're getting a box set with Rose. I always say this. A box set with Rose eventually, probably.
It would be cool if it happened, but God knows if it ever will.
So out of all the selections here, which one are you most looking forward to probably never listening to?
I think the War Doctor, Young War Doctor, is the one that's standing out to me the most. It's the one that sounds the most interesting to me, just because I like that character idea. The 60th anniversary Once and Future Past Lives is kind of fun as well, but whatever. It's not. I'm not excited by really much this month, honestly. What about you? What are you interested in?
My number one choice is Torchwood Among Us.
How did I know? How did I know that that's what you were going to say?
Because I've been binging all the box sets of Torchwood. I just spent £75 on Series 6. So yeah, I must listen to this. I must be consumed by Big Finish.
You are a strange man.
But yeah, Torchwood Among Us is coming out on the day I go on a train trip, so I'm gonna listen to two episodes on the train to Glasgow, and then 2 episodes in the train back from Glasgow. So that's gonna be how I listen to this.
Nice. That's pretty fun.
Of course, I'm also gonna get this Once and Future, because we're gonna be covering it next month on the podcast.
Exciting. You'll have to remind me to do that, otherwise I will not.
I will.
But yeah, that is all the news we have got this month. It has been a interesting month. New stuff is kind of heating up right now at the end of April, just because they're filming right now and there's a lot of behind the scenes photos that are getting taken. But it's been, other than that, a relatively quiet wee month as we move into the end of the podcast. As we move into May, we are continuing our chronological look through Doctor Who as we say hello to Peter Davison and goodbye to Tom Baker, and look at the highest rate, or at one time the highest rated episode of Doctor Who ever, with Caves of Androzani. We'll be looking at parts 1 and 2 on the 5th of May, parts 3 and 4 on the 12th of May, and then wrapping up May looking at the second Dalek movie, which is called Doctor Who and the Daleks and the Invasion of Earth 20-something another, isn't it?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the exact. I think that's the exact title, not roughly. I think that's word for word the exact title. So you have that. Looking forward to. It's going to be some good stories in May. It's going to be a good time for the podcast.
Yeah, we've recorded half of the first episode of Caves. We're having a fucking blast so far.
Spoilers.
I think we would be finished part. I think we would be finished part 1 if there wasn't internet difficulties on the
Scott's
on
end.
Matthew's
Scott's
part.
end. Scott's fault. It is Scott's fault.
But yeah, between Caves of Androzani and the movie, I think we're in for a pretty good month. I think there's going to be a lot of fun to be had.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
For sure. And until then, you can find every other episode that we have done of this podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Google Podcasts, we're everywhere. There's a heap of links in the description. We're also available in video form on YouTube at youtube.com/@whowatcheswho. We're on social medias, Facebook at Who Watches Who, Twitter at Watches Doctor. You can give us a follow there and look at some whatever memes Scott's posting. I haven't been on Twitter in about 2 weeks and it's been bliss. So I don't know what Scott's been posting recently. It's just slurs. He's just been tweeting racial slurs because I think that's what Twitter's about now.
Oh God, yeah. Every day it's getting worse and worse. I don't think Twitter will be around this time next year.
Yeah, it's pretty miserable right now. But yeah, there's a heap of links in the description. You can send us an email at whowatcheswhopod and make sure to leave a review for this podcast if you are listening to it in audio form and have made it this far on whatever device you are using. Reviews really help promote the show, and we've been doing really well recently with downloads and with views on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, hello. It's been really great to see. You know, our subscriber number has been ticking up nice and slowly. Our views have been crazy good for us recently, as well as our watch hours, and our downloads have been consistently great this year. It's just been good. It's been a good time for the podcast, and let's keep this. I would say gravy train, but it's not making us any money, so empty, like, I don't know. Let's just keep this going. It's a good time. It's a good time. But until then, we will see you next week with Caves of Androzani.
Bye.
Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.